Newz reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com. That's news with a Z at the end. blackfoxnews.com to actually support the movement, view the content, run them numbers up, you know what I mean? You can actually purchase the music, we got DVDs, merch, and participate in our advertisement program. If you want to get your name out there or the name of your business or whatnot, tap into our following thousands across multiple social media platforms, man. Ride with us as we continue to rock with y'all. Keeping y'all updated on what's really happening out here with context. So this Joe Biden situation where he's out there yesterday in Geneva meeting with President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, for a 3-hour summit. Now keep in mind that Russia has been, on a shit list for a lot of Democrats, especially during the Trump years when it was looking like there was Russian interference and all of that shit, whatever. So, and knowingly, there being cyber attacks by Russia against the United States and dealing with the vote or whatever, Trump never checked them about it. So in recent past, Biden has basically, in the Biden administration has expressed that is an issue. They are going to check them about it. That led to some tensions and, there were ambassadors getting called back home and all of that, whatever. Well, this 3-hour-long summit did a lot of that. Basically, they agreed to set up little groups to essentially control nuclear arms and also to deal with cyber attacks. Now, these are two of the world's largest nuclear arm holding countries. So this is, they have the largest nuclear stockpile. So at the end of the day, it means something that they're going to come together to actually work on nuclear control programming. They're also to deal with cyber attacks, as well as they're going to put ambassadors back at each other's respective posts. So you have Joe Biden basically saying that they agreed that they don't want to renew any Cold War tensions. And, as Biden was talking to the Russian media, basically said that it's not in anybody's interest, your country's or mine, that we end up in a new Cold War. And I truly believe he thinks that. So, it seems like he has some optimism about it. Some media was trying to suggest that it was blind optimism or unrealistic, but I guess you do have to be optimistic in terms of negotiating with other nuclear powers. But that's what happened with that, though. We'll see what comes from it and if it even sticks or leads to any new deals that the Trump administration might have taken them out of, Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So if you're going to get a vaccine for COVID-19, CureVac is not the one. This is the one that's made by the German drug maker that basically has shown a 47% effectiveness rate in its trial. So it's very disappointing. And in comparison, keep in mind the World Health Organization has a threshold of 50% in order to deal with, basically for them to put it on this emergency use authorization list and put it in the COVAX program and all of that. 50%, which is low as fuck, by the way, and very alarming, to be honest, to me. But at the same time, in comparing to, it is nowhere near comparison to these 90 and 95% effectiveness rates that you're seeing in these other vaccines, like these other mRNA vaccines like Pfizer, Moderna. So CureVac is probably not where you want to go with it, y'all. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So in Arizona, you got the governor, Doug Ducey, actually putting in an executive order that bars all public universities or community colleges from requiring their students to provide proof of vaccination in order to attend class. Now, he peeped the context because this is only days after, over in California, the University of California, the system basically said that beginning this fall, you need to have had a COVID-19 vaccination if you're going to come to the school, and that is if you are a student, a faculty, or a staff. So let me get this straight, UCal. So you mean to tell me that basically the mRNA vaccination process wasn't even an authorized or official way of vaccinating people before the pandemic, which means that the people who are getting these mRNA vaccines right now are the experiment, and you are going to say that beginning this fall, after it's not even been out for a year, that it's required and mandatory that you have these vaccinations in order to get into the school? Where is the scientific basis for this? Especially considering the fact that it's still not unknown if you're able to spread it once you have the vaccination. It's where's the scientific basis for it? And yes, there is CDC data that's basically showing that the places that have low vaccination rates have higher COVID rates. So basically, it's the reverse. Places with high COVID-19 rates are places with low vaccination rates. It's true. However, is that going to be the case for long? That's the case right now, but this shit's all brand the fuck new. Like, I think that's a very bold decision. You know what I'm saying? Where sometimes if you weren't as big as you probably could hurt yourself economically. Shit, they might even. But definitely might draw some eye and some protests. We'll see how this turns out though. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So we actually have a new study that was put out by the NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA. And this study basically shows that the Earth is trapping twice as much heat in its atmosphere as it did 16 years ago. Now, most of y'all watching me are over 16, so you know that's happened within your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of the greenhouse gases that are actually in the atmosphere. The study also found that Earth is at least partly responsible for the Earth's energy imbalance. So you got temperatures that are soaring over, definitely in Cali. In Salt Lake City, Utah, they actually tied their record high temperature this week of 107 degrees Fahrenheit. And then over in Death Valley, California, they actually reached 129 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday. That's actually just a few degrees shy of the world's highest recorded temperature ever. You know what I mean? And that's 54 degrees Celsius for all my people that's overseas. So, you know what I'm saying? Shit getting hot, you feel me? And more ways than one. Green War and Graduation though. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the U.S. House of Representatives actually voted on a bill that enshrines Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Juneteenth being the day that represents June 19th, 1865, when Union soldiers actually made it down to Galveston, Texas, to actually tell slaves that the Civil War had ended and they are free. The Emancipation Proclamation has been signed. Look up when that shit actually ended and compare the time. So that's crazy, right? But nevertheless, this is now a federal holiday, and you have the vote being 415 to 14 yays and nays. You had Sheila Jackson Lee, Black Democratic Congress member for Texas, that actually called the roll. And you had several other Black Caucus members actually speak on it. Bonnie Watson Coleman of New Jersey, a Democrat, was basically saying that this is a commemoration, not a celebration, because it reminds us of something that was delayed in happening. Now, it also reminds me of what we don't have today, which is full access to justice, freedom, and equality. And that's some real shit. Green War and Graduation though. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com, the website. That's news with a Z at the end. You have a ton of content on there. Go ahead, run them numbers up, you know what I mean? Get your click on. And you also have music that's for sale. We got merch, we have DVDs, and we even have an advertisement platform that y'all might want to look into on the /opportunities page, you know what I mean? So rock with us as we continue to rock out with y'all as we build this community and keep exchanging this real. Now, on to what the Justice Department recently did, which is overturning a Trump-era rule that actually prevented survivors from domestic violence and families that are threatened by violent gangs abroad from coming into the U.S. seeking asylum. So you have immigrant rights group Al Otro Lado, which is Spanish for to the other side. They made a statement basically saying that this is going to make the difference between life and death for so many people that are fleeing the country. So, you know, a lot of Republicans feel like Biden, they just been opening the floodgates for immigrants to come in here, but what are you going to do when somebody's fleeing persecution? You know what I'm saying? Which in some cases be from funds that the United States is giving them. Food for thought though. Green War and Graduation. This reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. You see where I'm at, man. I'm out here in these streets for real. So it's loud, so bear with me. But as long as y'all can hear me, make sure you check out my mixtape, @still_I_grind on Instagram. You see the merch for it, which you can get at blackfoxnews.com. But also the mixtape itself, every post is like a song. And it's the one that keeps on giving, an ongoing mixtape, a visual mixtape. You ain't never seen nothing like it. So definitely check that out. Support my rap careers. I keep giving y'all this news, you know what I'm saying? Now, the Biden administration has reversed yet another Trump-era situation where they basically, under Trump, had took transgenders from being protected under Title IX, which was a 1972 bill that came in that banned discrimination against people for sex. So this will actually restore protections from discrimination for people with like different sexual identity or sexual orientation. So I wonder if this will conflict with the rules that have been put out that's keeping these transgenders from playing sports in these schools with the sexes they identify with. You know what I mean? We'll see though. Green Wall and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So on Wednesday, a federal court in North Carolina actually ruled that North Carolina's ban on having abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy is unconstitutional and creates a credible threat of persecution for providers. So you had a lawyer who argued the case that's actually a member of the Center for Reproductive Rights, actually said that, you know, forcing someone to have a pregnancy against their will is a violation of their rights, basically their human rights and their reproductive rights and their humanity. So you know that people feel different ways about it, but also in Missouri, you had a federal judge last week had banned or blocked a ban that was put against abortions after 8 weeks of pregnancy. Green Wall and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Over in Mexico, you actually had remains from one of the students of those 43 students that had actually disappeared back in 2014 from that teachers college in Ayotzinapa, Guerrero. This actually is only the third student whose remains have been found from that disappearance, which many people suspect was likely a massacre. You know, this disappearance of 43 students out of college, like, it had people going crazy. And a lot of families still think the military of Mexico was actually involved in a mass abduction and murder, but remains have been found, so now it's for sure, it looks pretty likely that these people were murdered. So Green Wall and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So in Peru, you actually have socialist presidential candidate Pedro Castillo actually claiming victory as being the new president of Peru. And that actually is coming after the final count of all the votes showed him with a 44,000 vote lead over right-wing opposition Keiko Fujimori, who's actually the daughter of former imprisoned dictator Alberto Fujimori. Now, Keiko Fujimori actually thinks that the election is calling election fraud, even though she hasn't provided proof. She's vowed to challenge the certification of the votes. But you know, Castillo, he out there, he went on Twitter, posted a picture of himself with his hands up over the words president, and under that it said no more poor in a rich country. So you know, he's already vowed to raise the taxes on the copper mining industry, which is bringing in hella racks, hella bread over there. And he also is talking about taking that money to put towards education programs and things of that nature and healthcare. And also is vowing to close the income gap and you know, do away with income equality. So you know, sounds like my type of guy though, personally. Green Wall and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So Democratic Congressmember for Massachusetts, Jim McGovern, is actually calling on Joe Biden to end U.S. sanctions that are deadly U.S. sanctions against Venezuela. Now, he's the chair of the House Human Rights Commission, and he actually is saying that the sanctions that are designed to get Nicolas Maduro out of power have actually pushed millions of people into poverty and hunger, and has denied them healthcare and other basic services during the pandemic. So he actually spoke to peace activists about this earlier this year, saying that, you know, it counts to needless death and, you know, suffering and things of that nature. So, you know, we'll see if this counts as democratic pressure that might give Biden to make a move on this. Green Wall and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Over on Tuesday, China had actually sent a record 28 warplanes over into Taiwan-controlled airspace, and this happened. That's a record considering, like, for the past year they've been flying these sorties off the coast towards Taiwan on a near daily basis, but they've never done 28 like this. And this is actually interesting timing wise, because this happened a day after Biden was urging the North American Treaty or NATO to actually consider China as a security risk. And China's long warned the U.S. from intervening with their matters of dealing with Taiwan, which it considers its sovereign territory. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So China actually sent 3 astronauts, or Chinese astronauts known as taikonauts, out into space to actually go to its own space station. They actually had to build their own space station after the United States banned taikonauts from being in the motherfucking International Space Station. So this is China's first crewed mission since 2016. You know what I mean? They had other successes though. They were able to retrieve a sample from the moon recently, and they recently landed a rover on Mars. They're just the second nation in the world after the United States to actually operate a rover on Mars, on the red planet, so to speak. So, you know, we'll see what comes of this. It seems like it's a lot of little microaggressions happening between these nations, these top nations nowadays, though. You know what I mean? Especially the United States and China. Like, is we cool? Is we not cool? Is we good? Is we not good? Like, we'll see what happens. Green War and Graduation. News report under the world order. Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, over in Saudi Arabia, they actually beheaded a man, 26-year-old Mustafa Hashem Al-Darwish, after, well, he was basically in prison and ended up beheaded for anti-government protests and riots that he partook in when he was just a teenager. Just 17 to 18 years old at the time of the 2011-2012 Arab Spring uprisings. He was actually accused of participating in a minority Shia Muslim youth protest that basically was calling for a demand for jobs and an end to discrimination. And keep in mind that he was then jailed for it in 2015, and now, you know, he's gone. As human rights groups are saying that Saudi Arabia has actually performed 26 executions this year. So, you know, it seems like they really serious about anything that's anti-government. You know what I mean? Green War and Graduation, though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Late Wednesday night, you actually had another power outage going on in Puerto Rico, leaving hundreds of thousands of people without power. This is the second one since Luma Energy, which is a U.S. and Canadian company, actually took over the power grid from PREPA, the Puerto Rican Energy Power Authority. Labor unions and others have been protesting against the privatization of the power network. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Over in the 50th state, Honolulu, Hawaii, there are 3 officers being charged with murder that took place in April. Basically, 16-year-old Iramamba Saikat was actually driving at the time of the killing, and Jeffrey Tom, the officer who shot the boy, had detailed the account as it being this kid ran into them. But body camera footage that has since been seen does not match up with the officer's account. So another police officer in the United States lying about a murder that they committed. What a surprise. You know, we'll see how this unfolds. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over there in Honolulu, Hawaii, there's another incident of what could be looked at as police racial discrimination, or maybe even racism in general, where you had a black South African, Lindani Mayeni, in April, actually being seen on doorbell footage walking behind a couple into a home, you know, taking his shoes off and then entering the home. Shortly after he goes into the home, he actually comes back out, and, you know, he's immediately like apologizing repeatedly and all of that. The woman makes a 911 call to report a burglary on this man, and then police arrive, do not announce themselves before confronting this man, end up shooting him dead and killing him. Now, the family of Mayeni has actually filed a wrongful death suit against the police department for racial discrimination, but the family says that, and his wife specifically filed the suit, but his family says that he thought it was a place of worship, which is actually in a neighboring area where it's open to the public. So, Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So in Texas, the Republican governor Greg Abbott, and you can say typical Republican fashion, you know, they tend to advocate for things that seem like a staple in the Republican community, you know what I'm saying? And this kind of falls into that, where he signed into bill on Wednesday in private a law that basically allows you to have a gun in the state of Texas without a permit, as long as you're not prohibited from having a gun federally or statewide. So, you know, if you caught that body over in Michigan, or, you know what I'm saying, you was serial killing up in the tri-state area, whatever, and you ain't get caught, you know what I'm saying, or you go to Texas or whatever, you good, you can have yourself a strap and you'll be all right. Now, he signed this in private, but he's gonna do a ceremonial signing this morning or did it this morning in the Alamo in San Antonio. On the flip side, over in Cali, you got the San Jose City Council unanimously voting to actually have gun shops record all of their gun purchases. This is a month after they had that mass shooting out there on that railroad, where a dude who had a history of sexual assault actually killed 9 people before turning a gun on himself. So it seemed like they might have been scared into making such provisions. And you know, I guess on some level there's a healthy amount of fear that actually is the prerequisite towards us even having some of these laws. However, are they the wise decision? Because that's not always the case, though. We'll see. Green War and graduation.